name is Ramesh Shivanna. Welcome all of you for the e-conclave on Israel-based precision farming technology and opportunities for Karnataka farmers, organized by jointly Industry Trade and Trade Forum, shortly called ITF. This ITF is working towards industry and trade promotion in the state, and Pride Energy Environmental Resource Research Institute, PERI, working on promoting environmental sustainability and agricultural sustainability technologies. I welcome all of you once again.
Sir, we are delighted to have you with us to participate and share your vision on agriculture, implementing new technologies. Agriculture is the backbone of India economy because 75% it is reduced to 60% of India's population depends on agriculture or agro industries. So let's hear from our beloved Honorable Minister. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Namaskar. I would like to say once upon a time, Israel was without water, without this is not known, but now it's leading the entire world in making agriculture and water using of waters. Our government of Karnataka has identified more micro irrigation and precision farming as one of the high priority short-term green growth opportunities for investors and policy action by the state. Need of the hour to promote micro irrigation and precision farming technology more suitable for income generation and beginning of income security to the farmers rather than just using them as a water saving technologies. The dream of our Honorable Prime Minister of India with a slogan for drop more crop under PMKSY has been focusing on doubling the income of farmers by 2022-23. The precision farming technology with a priority on micro irrigation and protective cultivation ensures improvement in the income of farmers along with sustainability of income. The frontier technology like advanced micro irrigation system, sensor-based computerized irrigation system help in expanding the area under irrigation undertaking pre-monsoon showing saving labor, energy, fertilizer and other inputs costs, thereby improving productivity per unit area and enhancing net farm incomes. In Karnataka, the area under micro irrigation in the year 2005 and 6 was only 1.2 lakh hectares after launching national mission on micro irrigation by Government of India in the year 2005 and 6 to 2013 and 14. Area under micro irrigation was increased to 6.7 lakh hectares in Karnataka. In the year 2014 and 15, the existing national mission on micro irrigation was merged with a new scheme called National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Our government of Karnataka is presently having 36 lakhs hectare area, which accounts to be 36% of the total cultivation land in Karnataka. The Karnataka government has developed the roadmap from existing 36% in 2019 and 20 to 45% in 2022 and 50% by 2025. The area under micro irrigation agriculture crops is presently 16 lakhs hectares in Karnataka, which accounts to be 39% of the net irrigated area. Similarly, our government has set a target of increasing area under micro irrigation to 45% in 2022 and 60% by 2025. Under the scheme like National Horticulture Mission, National Horticulture Board and Comprehensive Horticulture Development Programs, Karnataka has more than 10,000 polyhouses. The average horticulture production is around 8 tons per hectare, whereas the average horticulture production under protective cultivation it's around 30 tons per hectares. Hence, the micro irrigation, fustigation, and precision farming technologies bring in phenomenal increasing in production In this regard, Israel, a small country with no conducive climate for farming, is now become the world leader in water technology. In Karnataka, area under micro irrigation has increased on cluster base. For example, Mandya, Mysore, Hassan, Shivamoga, Davangere, Kolar, and Chikmagalur, Gulbarga in northern Karnataka have more areas under micro irrigation. The district of Raichur, Yadgir, and Koppal are identified as highly vulnerable districts. Boosting agriculture livelihoods in these districts by using precision farming technologies can create ripple effects in other sectors of economy. Government of Karnataka has earmarked rupees 336 crores under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchay Yojana PMDC for agriculture. Department during the year 2020-21 to bring an around 2 lakhs hectare area under micro irrigation. Micro irrigation technology were initially developed to irrigate high value greenhouses crops and now become commercially viable for field crops like sugarcane, cotton, tur, maize, ragi, groundnut, etc. after the invention of the inexpensive weather resistant HDFE polyethylene plastic types. Government of Karnataka, in collaboration with the Government of Israel, has established a Center of Excellence on pomegranate at Bagalkot, vegetables at Dharwad, and mango at Kolar. With these views, I have now request our Special Secretary on Food Processing and Post-Harvesting Technology, Sri Manoj Ranjan, to deliver his keynote address. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your presence and addressing all of us. Shri Manoj Ranjan currently is a Commissioner, Karnataka Disaster Management Authority, and is the Special Secretary to Government of Karnataka in food processing. He also serves as a Mission Director of Israel Technology based Integrated Farming Mission in the Agricultural Department and Managing Director and CEO of Rashtriya E-Market Service Private Limited. Shri Manoj Ranjan to take over this.
Thank you, Ramesh. Sir, a very good evening to Honorable Minister B.C. Patil Sahibre. He was very crisp in his talk. In fact, he laid out the macro plan. Karnataka Sarkara ಏನು ತನ್ನ ಒಂದು vision ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಯಾವ ತರ we need to go into micro irrigation system. Very crisply, the Honorable Minister. I thank the Honorable Minister for this wonderful introduction. I also thank the organizers of ITF for formulating such a kind of concept where we can talk about what is the Government of Karnataka's vision in irrigation, agriculture in specific, and more importantly, I was told that we have a lot number of entrepreneurs from the industry who are looking at what opportunities lies in this sector. So I will frame my talk in two areas. The first area, I would like to talk about what is this Israel technology-based farming, how is adoption of this technology into Karnataka, and how Karnataka farmers would likely be benefited by this vision of the Government of Karnataka. Then I will open up the various opportunities which lies for entrepreneurs to enter into this agriculture sector. So ee reetiyalli I will speak in two areas. So Israel anta helidaga kivige first beelodu neeru. So we all know that water is a critical input for agriculture. We also know that the water availability in the agriculture sector is declining. The water table is declining. The water availability for agriculture is declining also to the reasons that expansion or urbanization, domestic consumption bekagutte, industrial consumption bekagutte anta heli. Now, if you look back how agriculture is being practiced in the traditional method, agriculture in the traditional method is in the command area, we go for conventional surface methods where we follow flooding, furrowing, check basins. The water efficiency is pretty low. So this is a statement of fact. So in this development, what we are trying to do is that we're trying to evaluate Israel. Yake Israel anta, if you ask this question, Israel is positioned itself in such an harsh condition where water, where temperature, where soil are very, very difficult. So anta difficult agiruvanta Israel in a situation which is so tough, like in Israel, if they are doing water management, the rainfall is 300 mm. ಆ ಒಂದು 300 mm rainfall ಅಲ್ಲಿ how are they producing agriculture? How are they exporting 15,000 crores worth of fruits and vegetables? That is the question mark before us. So ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ when you say Israel technology, Israel ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕಂತ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ನಾವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, that is why Israel technology ನ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು holistic approach which Israel forms is a very important thing. They talk about precision farming, they talk about productive cultivation, they talk about automated irrigation, fertigation, and more importantly, reusing water. ಆ ಒಂದು ನೀರನ್ನ ಸೀವೇಜ್ ನೀರನ್ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು reuse ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. These are all standing examples of Israel. So before I start my topic, I thought I should compare Israel and Karnataka. ಈ ಎರಡು Israel Karnataka compare ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ Karnataka is 9 times bigger than Israel. Andre our geographical area is 9 times bigger than Israel. Namdu cultivable agriculture land ಏನಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ 28 ಸಾರಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿದೆ. That means we are 28 times having more cultivable land than Karnataka, than Israel. Then if you look at the irrigated area, our irrigation area is 17 times more than Israel. Then if you look at all these issues out over here, ನಮಗೆ rainfall ಬರೋದು 2,500 mm ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ 30 mm ಇಂದ 300 mm rainfall ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. So under these conditions, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ 15,000 ಕೋಟಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಬಟ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಿಂದ 10,000 ಕೋಟಿ ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ such a low output and exports being such low, ನಮ್ಮ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ಟನ್ ನಾವು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಅವರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್, ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸೇ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಪೊಮೊಗ್ರಾನೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 48 ಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಟನ್ ಒಂದು ಹೆಕ್ಟೇರ್ಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಟನ್ ಇಂದ 12 ಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಟನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ. ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ 35 ಇಂದ 40 ಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಟನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 27% ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು 15 ಮೆಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಟನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯೂಕಂಬರ್, ಕಾಟನ್, ಮೇಜ್ ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಇಳುವರಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅವರ್ ಈಲ್ಡ್ ಪರ್ ಹೆಕ್ಟೇರ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಟು ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್, ವಿ ಆರ್ 20 to 25% only. So if you follow the holistic method of precision farming, integrated productive cultivation, you may increase the yield to our farmers. ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ the government of Karnataka constituted a special mission known as Israel technology based farming to understand Israel model, and ಆ Israel model ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಸೂಕ್ತ, what is suitable for ಕರ್ನಾಟಕನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನ I want to bring 4 important points on what Israel technology is. First and foremost, the water use efficiency in Israel is very, very high. When I say it's very, very high, it is going up to 85 to 95% of water use efficiency. This is to the reason that they follow abundant micro irrigation. The entire agriculture in Israel is based on micro irrigation only. Second, the way they harness water, ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ನಮ್ಮ ರೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನ್ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಡಿಸಲೈನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ರೀಯೂಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಲೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ರೀಯೂಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೀವೇಜ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪಾರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಲೀಡರ್ಸ್. ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಇನ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ದಿ ವೇ ದೇ ಲಿವರೇಜ್ IT is enormous for us to appreciate. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದೇ ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ. ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ನಾಳೆ ಏನ್ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಇನ್ನು 15 ದಿವಸಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಆ ಫೋರ್ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇರುವಂತ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಯಿಸ್ಚರ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫಿಯರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಯಿಸ್ಚರ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇದೆ, ಏನು ನಾವು ಕ್ರಾಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು, ನೀರು ಇವತ್ತು ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, should we water it today, should we fertilize it today, should we put insecticides or pesticides today. A decision is made on a calculated manner, taking space technology, IT related data sets, and then helping the farmer to decide what to do, when to do, and why to do. Joteli, you have very interesting advancement in mechanization, automation, automatic computer ನೀರ್ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ, ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ, ಡ್ರೋನ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದು ಚಿಪ್ ನ ಹಸು ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು they put a microchip on a cow. Based on movement of the cow, they say whether the cow is healthy or non-healthy, whether it is estrus cycle has started, do they have to artificially inseminate it. Milk production ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ they monitor. That means they are using information technology, they're using sensors, they're using whole lot of data sets to do efficient agriculture, dairying, etc. So this technology is huge, where you can actually lock, stock, and barrel pick from Israel and give it to Karnataka. Next ನೋಡಿದಾಗ innovation ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಈ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಇಟ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಲ್ಚಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮಲ್ಚಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ there is protection to the animal, to the plant, there is moisture retention, there is weed, there's a lot of host of benefits. So ಈ ತರ innovate ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ aeroponics, hydroponics, protected farming, they are leaders. So the point I'm trying to tell this gathering is that we must now try to adopt that the water availability to agriculture is reducing by the day. Water availability is reducing because of other associated industry and domestical requirements are going up. We need to come up with innovative methods to do agriculture. It was told that 65% of the population in Karnataka are directly dependent on agriculture. Now it is for this gathering. This gathering has university vice chancellors, it has academicians, it has researchers on one side, it has industry people, entrepreneurs on one side, it has farmers on the other side. So it is this group, this gathering, which should now come up to say that how agriculture should happen, what was the problems the traditional agriculture was facing, and how induced agriculture can be the solution. When I say induced agriculture, precision farming is going to be key. So precision farming is the management of arable variabilities. It can be soil, it can be moisture, it can be pest, it can be your seeds, etc. Such that if you can do precision farming, you can give better economic returns to your farmer. For precision farming, the mantras are 5 R's. The right input, right time, at the right manner, the right quantity, and right place. I repeat, right input anta helidaga, what seed, when are you putting it? What fertilizer, when are you putting it? What water, what is the right way of putting it? When do you put it? What is the manner of putting it? What is the right quantity? In fact, if you look at traditional agriculture, Namma grandfather was throwing seeds like this, fertilizers like this. I will do the same thing. ಒಂದು ಹೆಕ್ಟೇರ್ ಗೆ 2 ಚೀಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇಳುವರಿ, ಅದು ನನ್ನ ತಾಕತ್ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. Those things are gone. Now you must talk about very clear measuring matrices. ಈ ಮಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಈ ಗೊಬ್ಬರನೇ ಸಾಕು, ಈ ಮಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಮಾಡಿಟಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಕು, ನೀರಾವರಿ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಕು, ಈ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. So we must move into the era of precision farming, and today technology is going to be a strong backbone if precision farming has to happen, because technology can store, retrieve, and help in decision making process. So in this opening remarks, I should say that the challenge before the government of Karnataka and between you and us is that we are moving, and we need to move from traditional method of irrigation to an innovative induced agriculture system, such that micro irrigations are there, fertigation is automated, mechanization is there, post harvest ivella ನಾವು ತರಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ knowledge transfer to the farming community through various innovative method is the key. I repeat, knowledge transfer to the farming community through various innovative methods is the key. In this direction, the objectives which the government of Karnataka has put before itself is that hege namma water use efficiency currently from whatever percentage, 35-40%, how can we take it to 85-90%? So higher water use efficiency is the first agenda. Second agenda is that how do I make our farmers adopt good agriculture practices, scientific practices, induced agriculture practices? That is our second agenda. The third agenda would be how do I enhance the productivity? Today I said, compared to Israel, on an average, we are 25% of 25 to 30% of Israel's average production per crop. So how do we increase it? How do we bring it to 75, 80, 90 and cross even 100%? Another agenda before the government is that for small holding farmers, how does he come up with integrated farming system? Integrated farming system is a circulatory system where you have agriculture, sericulture, dairy, farming, oil seeds, fruits, vegetables, such that economy is throughout the year provided to the farmer. Similarly, nutritious food is given, and then he has whole set of animals, cattle, etc. supporting him. Then another agenda before the government is more area under irrigation, and lastly but not least, water security. And all these 5 agendas must lead to farmer getting a higher income. With this agenda in mind, with this agenda in mind, very clearly, when I said that capacity building and information dissemination is the key, Government of Karnataka moved very strategically. It moved to all the universities of Karnataka. And at this point of time, I must salute the universities that they joined hands. And today they have come up with 5 key areas. The first key area is that if they have to demonstrate to the farmers on good agriculture practices, they must show the farmers. Now, to show the farmers, the concept of demonstration plots has come in place. A demonstration plot would be around 2 acres to 5 acres. It will go up to 10 hectares also, depending on the commodity and the availability of land. We start to go with the district level, Hobli level, Taluk level, and also to lead farmers level. So in this area, when this plot is taken, we will then demonstrate to the farmer what is precision farming, what is micro irrigation, how to use sprinklers, what are good agriculture practices, what is mulching, how do you harvest, how do you tend them, how do you care for them. So all these components will be demonstrated in the demonstration plots, along with usage of rainwater harvesting, then soil management, etc., on these demonstration plots. So at this point of time, demonstration plots hold huge value for private entrepreneurs to showcase their innovation, because we will be bringing farmers to the demonstration plots, and there when they see the huge demonstration plots with new innovation from the government side, from the university side, and from private entrepreneurs, they will start picking up the best practices for themselves. Now, with this demonstration plot, one of the university was given the task to come out with a syllabus for farmer training. So farmers should be trained. What is the right input? How does he manage it, and how is the right outputs? How decisions are made? What is the importance of soil, water, fertilizer, seed treatment? So all these things, one university has come up with a beautiful course curriculum, which will be starting in the coming few months. Then we have training content, which has been formalized by one of the universities, where innovatively audios, videos, caricatures, animation, they are preparing. One of the university has been given a task to come out with good practices manual. This is very important for you to appreciate. The good practices manual today will talk that if a farmer is going to grow tomato, if he's going to grow tomato in Kolar, in Agraharam, Sanganhalli village, what is the soil type there? How much of water he must release? What is the type of drip irrigation he must possess? When should he do fertigation? So end-to-end solution, how much of water, how much of crop, what to do, right way, right manner will be told through this good practices manual. So like this, we have spread ourselves very widely to see that we will be communicating to the farmers, we will be giving them capacity building, knowledge transfer, and supporting them in the journey for precision farming. Like this, we will attempt to see that the farmers' input cost, inputs I say again, seeds, fertilizers, agrochemicals, water, and labor. How can we reduce the cost for the farmer? And again, some improvement managed practices, land. How does he cultivate his land, mulch his land, keep it? How does he use water more efficiently? Integrated pest management, nutrient management, disease management. How can he diverse the integrated farming? So those components we are going to bring to him. And in better output management, we'll be talking about post-harvest handling, value addition, agro-processing industries, and contract farming, and linking to the markets. So this is the large umbrella which the government of Karnataka has put itself for helping farmers adopt Israel-based technology, precision-based farming, productive cultivation, and enhance their income. I'm coming to the second part of my presentation, which I was told by the organizers that there will be entrepreneurs and industryverse who would like to look at what opportunity lies for them in this sector. First and foremost, when I gave you this component that we are moving from traditional to an induced agriculture system, the most important thing is information technology. Now, if you look at a Google app, and if you want to go from one place, it tells you take a right here, take a left here, it is crowded here, and it makes you reach the point. On the same basis, there is a huge opportunity for any IT company to now decipher the knowledge which the universities have got in the form of manuals, make them into a mobile app, put it on the farmer's palm top, and then will help him decide, Nano, where am I standing today? Which crop is suitable for me based on the soil type? What is the rainfall pattern of the very location I am standing? Then when I choose this tomato or brinjal or lady's finger or paddy, it should tell me when should I start my watering? When should I start my fertigation? It should give alarms. It should give advisories, agronomical based advisories as well as weather based advisories. So this is a huge opportunity for entrepreneurs to start with making very precise mobile app hand-based advisories to the farmer, which will culminate a lot of technical knowledge, agronomical advisories, weather advisories, and help the farmer in his farming. The second sector is automation and mechanization. Huge amount of automation has happened in Israel and in other countries also, be it dairy, be it poultry, be it agriculture. Now to bring that technical knowledge, bring that mechanization, modify it, customize it for Indian market, trust me, there's a huge potential. Starting from sowing to harvesting and storing, there are huge potential in the era of automation and mechanization. So your indigenous technical knowledge can be used, adopted, learn from those practices, customize it to the Indian market. There is going to be a huge industry opportunity in this area. Then I'm talking about promoting integrated farming practices. So here you must come with combinations. There are 10 agroclimatic zones. There are different necessities, different models. What should I grow? What I should grow? So you should go into very clear advisories for these people, what they should grow, how they should grow. And trust me, agri consultant services will be a huge opportunity under the aegis of precision farming and precision farming. If you have an agri consultant services, there are big farmers immediately who are affordable, who can pay for your services. You will be advising them. You will have a set of 100 agri graduates, horti graduates under you, and they will go to the farm. They will advise farmers how to grow, and then there's a huge business opportunity. They can become crop specialists. So under this aegis of new age or new era agriculture, there is going to be these many opportunities. Now we have put greenhouses and polyhouses. Maintenance of greenhouses and polyhouses, little support, repair, is a huge opportunity. So yeah, people who are here should be looking at what is the scope of fertigation, what is the scope of drip irrigation, how do I manufacture green and polyhouses, what is the model for plastic mulching, can I innovate plastic mulching such that disposable plastics are there, it becomes a manure over one use or two use. So these are things which I think the industry must be looking at. If we move towards the era of industrial or Israel technology based farming, then there is a huge business opportunity in each of these sectors where you and the private sector can support this industry. The government can support this industry along with universities. When both hands are joined, the farmer can take a leap jump in his production. So I thought these are my initial comments in the keynote address. I once again thank the organizers and also the wonderful participants who gave me this opportunity to give my views on what is precision farming, how we plan to adopt it in Karnataka. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's a very inspiring speech, and we really understood a lot of things actually from you. Thank you very much for your keynote address.
Thank you.
I think today is actually that the session. I think we have a maximum number of people who registered and trying to join this event, which we never seen in any of events which we have done. And I'm sure the participants in this webinar are excited about the increasing their knowledge of new practices and methods which all the panel speakers mentioned today. And agriculture in Israel is about farming in extreme condition, and in arid and semi-arid land, the use of water in an efficient way is important to us. And just as adopting a new technology, confronting climate change, and offering in new products and varieties to the market, precision farming is a goal-oriented and hinges on the advent of the information technology, affordability of key technologies, and ergonomic knowledge of the crop management strategy and system. And precision farming is a cropping system, and therefore we should not too preoccupied with the technology, but listen to the management's need and devices. So that's what we understood from the Manoj speech, and improve and match resources and agricultural practices with the soil and crop requirements for efficiency and high productivity. Precision farming also requires better and more progressive managers to implement and ensure its success. So agriculture is a market driven. Farmers first look at the market and then at the crop. Exporting techniques are also is very important for the farmers. And another issue is of adopting innovations in agriculture, which is hard but makes a lot of sense. So this is what I think we understood from the panel. So I take this opportunity to thank Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Shri B.C. Patil, for taking out his valuable time in this pandemic pressure and addressing all of us. And he was staying a long time in this today's the conference. And thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for joining and addressing all of us. And I also thank Shri Manoj Ranjan, Special Secretary Food Processing, for giving a wonderful knowledge on Israel-based precision farming technology. He has extensive knowledge on that. I think we should really make utilize of him again meeting, and I think our platform should really work with him. Thank you very much, sir, for joining and giving such a wonderful knowledge on precision farming. And I also thank Dr. Sharon Angadi. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful scholarly inputs in the farming. And I thank Dr. Vasant Kumar, our former Special Secretary to the government, for moderating and wonderful panel today. And he is, in fact, he has a passion on the agriculture, so which we keep on talking about that. Thank you very much, sir, for being here today and addressing all of us. I thank all the organizations partnered with us for the today event: Federation of Women Entrepreneur, Rotary Green Park, and the organization India Trade and Trade Firm. So, and its founders Ruparani and Satish for joining the initiative to organize jointly with the Pride Energy Environment Resource Research Institute, Perry. And I thank all the participants who are there in the Zoom call, and many of the people are watching on Facebook. I thank everyone for joining for today's this panel discussions and the conference. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.